Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis, and I am with Bill Flowers, who is here in this weekly segment. Normally, he's a little bit earlier in the week than he is now, but it's a bye week. Just bear with us. We have a ton of interviews coming up this week as well. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody this morning, and we are 5-1 as Ole Miss is 5-1 going into the bye week at the midseason point. If the same thing would have happened to last year's team, that team would have been 2-4. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think sometimes having that situation that arises where your back's against the wall, coaching conversations have to be addressed. I think after the Alabama game, that was the best situation that could have happened. You saw the offense change drastically for the LSU game. I think we've seen what our defense is called to do, and the attacking the middle of the field, being able to play and hold the ball like we've been able to do. Last two games have helped us win those games that we lost last year.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. And like I said, I give Jaxson Dart a little bit of a pass for the Arkansas game because I think he got injured on the second play or something like that, and he just kind of gutted it out. But he didn't make the critical mistake in that game. And exactly. honestly, the only near critical mistake was the Lane Kiffin inexplicably going for it when the other team is just not moving the football.
Yeah. I definitely think that that Dart, listen, you're not going to have a great game every game. To me, the progression that he made from Alabama to LSU was huge. Defense definitely stepped up and did what they had needed to do to help Dart be able to, not have a spectacular game, but he didn't make the mistakes. He did not throw interceptions, and that's the key.
What in the first half surprised you about this Ole Miss team?
What was that?
What in the first half of the season surprised you about this Ole Miss team?
I would say the coming after the Alabama game, how are they going to respond? How is the coaching staff going to respond? How is the play calling going to respond? And I think you saw what great teams can do is pivot when they have to pivot, and they have. Last year, it didn't happen. Last year, the play calling was the same. The same mistakes that were being made were the same. This year, it's changed. For whatever happened has definitely taken place, and that's a sign of maturity. That's a sign of growth, and that's all you can ask for. I think the defense has also done something that I feel like our defense is being asked to do something to create identity as you're not expected to win the games. You're expected to make mistakes, to force mistakes. We're not asking you to put all this pressure on you. And our defense has really responded well. I think that was something that you're seeing in our defense this year. Pin your ears back, play with 100% aggressiveness. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Our offense is out there to capitalize on the mistakes that we create, and they've done that. And so I think those are the two things, the adjustments that have been made, and then our defense being able to kind of create that identity as a kind of a headhunter. We're not the heavyweight. We're not the heavyweight hitter in the middle of the ring. We're more of a slash and pop you and try to knock you out here and there.
Yeah, and it's really interesting, though. Speaking of the defense, they're in the top 5 in the country right now in sacks. And, and some people have the uninformed take of, oh, we need more of a pass rush or something like that. They're in the top 5 in sacks. They're in the top 12 or 13 in tackles for loss.
Well,
And
it's sort of like in our offense. We had this discussion of, okay, you can sit back there and try to wait for the second and third window, and it not be, it looks sexy. It looks like what you live for the big play. Well, you can also have that big huge D line that says, well, we're not getting the pass rush we need. Well, there's different ways to do it. There is, I'm going to blitz like crazy. I'm going to create so much pressure on the quarterback that he's going to force him to make mistakes. So if I can't get pressure from the D line, you've got to bring it from your linebackers. And that's what's smart. That's what they did. You have to play to your strength. You have to play with what you have, and that's exactly what Ole Miss is doing. That you're. I do feel like last year's defense might have had more talent, but this year they're playing more within the scope of what their true identity is, of just being um, uh, headhunters. Create mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just go out there and put as much speed on the field as you can.
Yeah, they are completely playing at 1,000 miles an hour. When they mess up, they mess up full speed. I mean, that is pretty obvious. We're getting ready to change. Well, we're going to change speeds here, and we're going to talk about the Auburn Tigers. And you were a part of the game in 2003 in Jordan-Hare Stadium, the Ben Obamanu game. What was that game like?
That was an amazing atmosphere. That was awesome. Never forget that before getting off that bus, Cutcliffe played the video of Tuberville saying, after his first year getting beat by Ole Miss, that as long as I'm here, I'll never be beat by Ole Miss ever again. And that was the last thing that we saw before we got off that bus. The atmosphere in Auburn is second to none. That's the loudest stadium in the SEC to me. It rattles your eyes. It's just a great environment. And that game was a game that we knew that we had to win. And the atmosphere was electric. And me being from Alabama, having my girlfriend at the time was, and all of her family were Auburn fans. My mother-in-law, my stepmom, she's from Auburn. Sister went to Auburn. It was being able to play in front of your family in their environment was really cool.
So we were getting there. I'm trying to remember because, hey, it's been 20 years. So I'm trying to just flash back to that a little bit. I guess it was about 3 or 4 minutes to go in the game. Eli Manning finds Lorenzo Townsend. He got him out in the flat, and he rambled for about 45 or 50 yards. Was that the moment that you knew that, hey, we're about to punch this in?
So the play before that was 3rd and 7 on our 20-yard line, and we knew that was the game. We knew it was either we convert or we don't, or we lose the game. We knew it, and they had played a really, Gene Chizik was the defense coordinator, and they ran a really complex defense. Really played a lot of zone where kind of put that corner and that safety in no man land. And before that play snapped, again 3rd and 7, they had a corner that was about 8 yards off, and you couldn't hear anything in the huddle, and it was complete white noise. Your eyes are rattling. We're in their student section, can't hear a thing. We go to the line, and I know Eli is going to just check the play, whatever it is. He's just going to check it, and audible to the line, and he looks over at me and audibles, and it was a hitch, and we knew that potentially I'd have to convert it, and that's what we did. And he threw it in the air, and I had to go around and convert it to a hole shot, and that converted it to be able to go down. And that's that drive, that shot right there, and then a Lorenzo get going down. Those are the when you convert big third downs, you're you're on the way, and then capitalizing on that. So I think that drive, we knew it, and and obviously when Ben Obamanu dropped that ball, that was like a billion pounds of weight off your chest.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, and a lot of people that watch the game look at it, the last two plays, Auburn ran the same play. The exact same play. The one play that Ben Obamanu dropped, they ran the play again, and that time the second time it was covered up. The fourth down play, the last play of the game, was no problem. The third down play, he was wide freaking open.
Yeah, well, and another thing they don't remember is we dropped the interception. We had a interception that, who was it? It was Vaughn Hutchinson. It was like first quarter, second quarter. We had an interception that was literally in his hands, and as he's in the air falling backwards, it falls out of his hands, I think into Ben Obamanu's hands for a touchdown. So I always tell the Auburn fans that, we gave you one and you gave us one back, so we're even. So fair and square, we won.
So being in Alabama, you're probably fairly familiar with this Auburn team. What do you think the keys is going to be for Ole Miss in that game?
I think the key to Ole Miss winning this game is Ole Miss being who they are, getting the ball out quickly. I'm never going to stop saying that. Taking what the defense gives you. They've got all the talent in the world to do that. The LSU game is an example of who Ole Miss is. You take what the defense gives you, utilize the talent that you got, use Bentley as your speed back. I mean, you saw the this was the first game against Arkansas that you truly saw the thunder and lightning and how to truly utilize it. So as long as Ole Miss plays their game and utilizes what the defense gives them, and utilizes their assets, they will win the game. There's not another team in the SEC that can beat Ole Miss when they are taking what the defense gives them, and so I think that's the key.
Yeah, if Ole Miss plays offense like they did against LSU and defense like they did against Arkansas, I even feel good going to Athens.
No, I think this is the Athens game, and that's going to be kind of I don't think Ole Miss is there yet to where they're having their coaches are having to say, hey, don't overlook Auburn. That they're not there yet, and that takes years of winning SEC championships to be there. But I feel like the progression that Dart made, again, this week, he didn't play nearly as sharp as he did against LSU, but he was injured, and he gets an off week. He gets to get healthy. I really do hope that Kiffin and them are really working on getting that ball out quickly, utilizing the middle of the field, putting more plays into the middle of the field to where he's having to force it. I mean, if you look at the Arkansas game, where you saw the progression of sustaining your drives is when he utilized the slot receivers in the middle of the field. They are a unique team that has a lot of talent, and a year where the SEC is just not as strong as it has been in the past. So I think this is the year that they have the best chance of making the best run they possibly can. And that has to do with them playing their game and utilizing what the defense gives them.
And before I let you out of here, and I realize it's been 20 years, so if you can't do this, I understand completely. But I just want to ask this question to see if you can do it. What is your favorite play call from your playing time at Ole Miss? The actual play name.
Well, one of them was Roger to right, Z mode, 988, 2 cross, B flat. That was one of them. And then The other one was bench you Oscar. So 988 bench you Oscar. Now the bench you Oscar is a dangerous play. That's an awesome play. That's where you're lined up as a slot receiver. You've got a linebacker you got an outside linebacker on your inside, or you have a safety on top. A little bit, and what you're going to do is you're going to stem that linebacker. You're going to get up on top of him, and then you're going to break out, sit down in a zone, sit or run out. I mean, that was an amazing play. That was one of my favorite plays. The 988 two cross B flat Zemo, 988 two cross. That was a lot of motion, and then running a corner. But I would also say the dig route, the what is it? The Meyer route. I couldn't tell you. I mean, that's just your post. That's your backside post and your front side outside receiver doing a 15-yard post dig.
So with me doing research, this is actually the Ole Miss offensive playbook from 2000. This was Mike McIntyre's. So now I can look it up and figure out exactly what you're talking about. See the rules for it. So, yeah, I like to have a good time whenever I do the football nerding out. That Meyer route, you're not the first person that's talked about that.
Yeah, that's your bread and butter. I mean, that's your post, backside, and then you're doing your 15-yard dig route across the middle. I scored on that number of times. That's a route that's just, it's built in. But I will say we only ran it like once or twice, and every time we ran it, it was completed. And I actually ran this at Georgia. Was a popcorn route, which is a post. It's a post curl, and that to me is probably going to always be. That's an unstoppable route, because if you've got time, you're running a post, and then you curl it. If it's zone, you find the hole.
Mm-hmm.
If it's man, then you've already got your corner. Or running with you, or your safety back, and then you do a curl, and it's wide open. So those were, I feel like the Oscar route, the bench you Oscar, the Meyer, and the popcorn are just great routes. I love running.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I do like going through here and looking at all the rules of the route combinations and all that in the playbook. It's really interesting. Basically, I got this playbook whenever we moved out of for the Starn Center and moved into what is the Manning Center. Whenever that moved, yes. That is whenever I inherited this playbook.
Really, if you look at Cutcliffe's offense that he had, and then you look at the spread offense now, really when you see Kiffin's offense at its best, it really is a hybrid. And people would always say, "Oh, Bill really wants this, go back to old school, football." It's not. His little, it's running hitches, running dig routes, occupying the middle of the field, running curls from the slot position, running. Again, when you see Ole Miss's offense against LSU, that's what it was. It was utilizing the spread formations, utilizing the middle of the field, utilizing play action, and Cutcliffe he's a great offensive mind. So his offense is definitely an offense that is incorporated into this new spread offense.
Yeah, I was really happy during the LSU game when Cut came back and he got the round of applause and all that, because I don't know, there was a weird thing in 2004, whenever that happened, that there was almost a divorce that happened with Cutcliffe, and to see him come back and the fans kind of rally around him, I enjoyed that, because a lot of people don't know this, but in 2003, whenever you were making that run, I was doing a sports talk radio show in Italy. And David Cutcliffe came on to that show to talk to a random AFN Navy journalist, David Cutcliffe, and with the picture of the time difference and everything else going on, David Cutcliffe made time for that to happen. And I will never forget that. And part of the reason I'm doing this right now is that.
That's cool. He's a good man. He's a good man. Good, good family man. He's one of the kind of guys that you want your son to play for. He's a little bit old school, but I feel like he's a stand-up man, dad, coach, great guy.
Pretty good. Anyway, thank you very much, Bill. Thank you to everyone for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Bill Flowers, his weekly segment. Thank you so much, man. And we'll talk to you next week to get really ready for the Auburn Tigers, man.
Yes, sir. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Toddy.